As Floridians, we've all been told to avoid excessive exposure to the sun. Florida has the second highest incidence of melanoma in the United States, and sadly, more than 600 Floridians die from melanoma annually. The rewards for caring for our skin can ensure the vitality of our skin to have a fresh spring look into the summer months. Here to offer practical, essential beauty advice is one of Hollywood's most respected makeup artists and leaders in the beauty industry is Pati Dubroff. Good morning, Pati.
Discover solutions to issues that affect your
Pati,
family
how do
and
you
professional
define
life
your
with practical
successful
information
approach
to help
beauty?
you get past
I'm
life's
quite a
adversities.
naturalist, so
Take
I'm
a
really
proactive
about
approach to
making sure
power
that
up
I'm
your
not
life with
covering and
Rosalie's expert
hiding
resources.
women's kind of innate beauty. So it's really about enhancing and not masking. So the kind of the vitality of the skin is always what comes through.
Not putting on a ton of makeup.
No, no. I mean, it can be definitely a finished and a polished look, but it's not about pouring on so much makeup that you lose the vitality of the skin. It's all about kind of health, glow, healthy, glowing skin.
What's your beauty philosophy behind the looks you create?
Again, it's about really, letting kind of that person's beauty shine through and the makeup enhancing them and them not wearing a mask of makeup. I mean, it goes hand in hand.
Share with us your 3 tips for beautiful skin that'll spring us into summer.
Definitely protect your skin, especially where you guys are, down in the sun. Keep it protected. Don't mask it, and that's primarily on the skin of the face. And then the third tip would be to, use a product that, like Jergens BB Body, that absolutely gives the skin hydration, luminosity, it firms the skin, and also it has this incredible blurring effect that kind of hides imperfections.
How can we create a flawless look that we can duplicate at home as you do for the stars in Hollywood?
For me, it's all about skin. So it's making sure that the skin of the body is just as beautiful as the skin of the face. So it's not neglecting anything. When I'm doing someone for a red carpet, I'm making sure that the knuckles on the hands have no redness and the toes are also no redness. So there's a lot of, kind of attention paid. But for normal people, it's just making sure that the body looks as good as the face. And then when it comes to the face, it's using the most minimal amount of foundation possible. And if you need foundation everywhere, just doing it with a really light touch. If you don't need so much, it's really focusing on the areas that you need. Making sure the eyes pop, making sure that the cheek always has like a good kind of flush and glow. Especially when women age, we start to lose the tone in the color in our face, so blush is really important. Making sure the brows have some definition, but that doesn't necessarily mean a harsh line. The eyes pop, avoiding hard lines. That's a big one for me. When you're doing your eye makeup and you're doing your lips, if you kind of draw things in very solid, hard lines, it can actually close off and make the eyes look squintier, or makes the lips look smaller. So soft, blurred kind of blurred definition is a big one.
So light colors on the face soften and dark closes?
Harsh dark closes for sure. Dark solid lines definitely close. Light definitely opens and illuminates for sure.
Thank you, Pati, for offering beauty tricks you use on your Hollywood stars to help our Florida viewers look our best.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Inner beauty comes abundantly for actress, dancer, and judge Carrie Ann Inaba from Dancing with the Stars. She's also mom to 2 rescue cats, Blizzard and Mimi. Carrie Ann is very passionate about her approach to keeping her rescue cats happy and healthy. And she joins us this morning to share her tips for providing them with a loving home. Good morning, Carrie Ann.
Well, I'm so happy to be here because I love talking about cats. And I don't get the opportunity very often, so it's really nice to be able to share some of my tips and secrets and the wonderful things that I do for my cats.
My niece recently lost her rescue cat, Allie, to cancer, and it's been tough on her. So how did you become a champion for rescue cats?
Well, you know, I grew up around cats, so I've always known their incredible love and their dedication and how special it is when a cat loves you. And they've saved me through many times in my life, you know, with their special love. I started rescuing cats because my oldest cat, Shadow, passed away a few years ago, and I started my own foundation, the CAI Animal Project. And basically what I do is I help rescue animals by providing sort of much needed funds when they're doing the rescues. And rescue cats, they kind of know, and they know you've rescued them, and they give you like an even more special kind of love. All love from animals is special, but it's sort of extra special. And so I have two rescue cats, Mimi and Blizzard. And what I did for them recently, because I'm always trying to find the healthiest choices for them in their lives, is I took the Purina One 28-day challenge, and it was amazing. I switched their dry food for 28 days. For Blizzard, who's my older white cat, I switched him to the healthy metabolism formula. And once he started the Purina 28-day challenge and went on the healthy metabolism formula, he started running down, like whenever it was feeding time, he'd come running from I don't know where in the house, like those cat commercials. And his energy has been up. He's playing more. He's the king of the household again, which he should, because he's just this gorgeous, glamorous cat. And then Mimi, the changes were more about, like, I could see in her coat and her eyes, and they were brighter. And she's also more playful and a lot more friendly. I think she feels better about herself. And so I noticed that I call her Mama's little helper because she's always following me around. And now she's always sort of like reaching out. And I can tell that she just feels good. And when they feel good, they're happier.
Tell us about the Cat Cafe and how it empowers cat lovers to learn more about their cat's health.
It's where cat lovers like myself can come together, talk about cats, share some of our funny stories, our wonderful stories, and they can have conversations about how to improve their cat's overall health. There are going to be experts there to talk about cats. I'll be there to share some of my stories and talk about the Purina One 28-day challenge. And it's really going to be a cool day. There's going to be animals, adoptable cats from the North Shore Animal League, and hopefully all of them will get adopted. That's my hope, that we'll all go there and we'll fall in love with all these cats and be surrounded by cats, drinking our cappuccinos, having cat talk, and all the cats will get adopted that day. And everyone will sign up for the challenge, and that's my hope. So I'm heading out there tonight, actually, after we're done with this, and I'm excited to go.
Now give us the inside scoop on upcoming themes on Dancing with the Stars.
Latin night is always my favorite because I love all the passion dances, the passionate dances, and I think it's going to be exciting. Last week we had party anthem night. Next week is Latin night, and then we're heading on our way to the finals. And it's a competitive season, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Where can cat owners go to find more information?
Okay, you can go to www.purina1.com/onesmartchange.
Thanks so much, Carrie Ann, for joining us this morning and sharing your passion to give rescue cats a new chance of living a healthy life in a loving home.
Thank you.
If you're planning for your family's security after retirement, listen up. The 24th Annual Retirement Confidence Survey revealed Americans' retirement confidence shows signs of recovery after 7 years of steady decline. Here to discuss the trends observed over the last 5 to 20 years of the retirement survey is retirement savings expert Greg Burrows, Senior Vice President at Principal Financial, and Nevin Adams, Director of Education and External Relations at the Employee Benefit Research Institute. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Rosalie.
So what are some stark differences the survey revealed in the last 5 to 20 years?
Well, first off, people's retirement confidence is up, and it hit a peak in 2007, and it's trended off pretty steadily since then, been at record lows until this year, showing an increase. So that's the first reversal in trends. The other thing that we saw this year, really for the first time in our analysis, we saw that increase in confidence is almost exclusively belongs to people who actually have some kind of retirement savings account, whether that's a workplace plan like a 401k or 403b, or an IRA, an individual retirement account. So that's the big trend there. I would say some of the other trends we haven't seen so much change in terms of people trying to figure out how much they need for retirement, in terms of the amounts of money that people say that they need to save, in terms of their willingness to seek out the advice of a retirement advisor. So some of those things really haven't changed so much.
What historical warning signs continue to be unchanged in the survey findings from year to year?
Well, probably the biggest thing is we find that less than half of the respondents to the survey have ever made any attempt to do a retirement calculation to figure out how much they might actually need to have saved for retirement. Now, the reason that matters is because if you don't know how much you're going to need, then trying to set aside enough money to meet that is a complete shot in the dark. I mean, it's a real problem. Also, you may actually be sitting there and thinking you need more than you actually do need, and you don't know because you haven't done the calculation. So obviously one of the big things that makes a difference in terms of people's preparation, in terms of people's confidence about their ability to set those goals, and frankly, even in the higher goals that they tend to set, is to take the time to actually do a retirement savings needs calculation. Plenty of free calculators out there to take advantage of. You've got opportunities on Principal.com and ChooseToSave.org have some great tools to get you started.
As the economy changes and the increases in business regulations continue, how will this affect Americans who are small business owners planning their retirement?
You know, Rose Lee, that's a great question. And regardless, I think we're always going to go through economic cycles where business, is working through regulatory change and so forth. But regardless of that, I think it's incumbent upon business owners and individuals, be young individuals in the workforce or those transitioning into retirement, to really understand their own personal situation, assess their expenses, assess their savings habits, and really build a plan that's personal to them. As Nevin mentioned, only about 40% of individuals actually use retirement calculators and are guessing. Those that do use calculators and build a plan are more confident and they put themselves on a path. Saving for retirement is hard work, and saving for retirement is an outcome of a disciplined process, and we really recommend that to your listeners.
Since Americans are living longer and plan to retire between the ages of 65 and 70, what's the magical number they'll need to stay in their home and live comfortably?
So for example, if an individual retires at age 65 with a $50,000 annual income, a rule of thumb might be that they need to have $500,000 saved combined with Social Security to provide appropriate income. But it really does depend on personal spending habits, lifestyle, and actual savings to really kind of determine that in that case. Working with a financial planner or financial advisor can help you build that plan that's personal to you and really makes sense.
Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this morning to help ensure our viewers get better prepared for their retirement.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now.
Well, have you tried saving?
Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
For over 100 years, through depression, war, boom time, oil crisis, recession, and growth, the New York International Auto Show continues to introduce new, innovative ideas to a national and world stage. Here with a sneak peek of what's to come in the auto industry is Micha Muzio, managing editor for Kelley Bluebook. Good morning, Micha.
Yeah, happy to talk about cars anytime I can.
Give us your best picks for the new production year coming up.
Yeah, for 2015, there's some really exciting cars coming up, one of which is the Hyundai Sonata. And, I think the Sonata sets the stage for what is a big trend that we're seeing in the automotive industry, which is a move towards a more emotional exterior design. Hyundai's been a leader in that space, and the Sonata is no exception. In fact, they pulled the wraps off of the Sonata, and it looks a lot more like their premium luxury sedan, the Genesis. They've also incorporated some really interesting technology into the car. Apple's CarPlay technology, which makes it very easy for iPhone users to use that functionality from within the vehicle. And also one bit of technology that I haven't seen anywhere else, this is brand new, but smart trunk, where sometimes you have like hands full of boxes and you need to put them in the trunk, but you can't, it's hard to reach into your pocket to push the trunk release. This one, if you just stand next to the trunk for about 3 seconds, it'll pop open automatically. So some really cool technology, but again, emotional design seems to be the theme of the show, and the Toyota Camry is another very emotional design. design. They pulled the wraps off of the Camry, and actually after only 3 years in the market in its current form, they've changed every single body panel except for the roof, and what you're left with is a car that almost looks like a Lexus. It's got that kind of quality, you know, this big aggressive front grille and you know, long lines that make it look long and wide and gives it a really nice stance, and it's supposed to drive more interestingly too, you know, have like sportier dynamics, which you know, I think is kind of neat that we're in a time where you can have just a sensible sedan that also is fun to drive and fun to look at. You know, another car worth mentioning is the Subaru Outback. And the Outback, you know, it's one of those lifestyle vehicles. Oh, I'm going kayaking, or I'm going to take the bikes to the mountains. The Outback does all that stuff still for 2015, but they've also done something which I think is really valuable and everybody's thinking about: fuel economy. Up to 33 miles per gallon on the freeway, while still offering all the you know, security and handling benefits of all-wheel drive. So great technology, really interesting designs, you know, improved fuel economy. That's kind of the essence of the auto show here.
What concept cars took you by surprise?
Yeah, you know, concept cars are always super cool. You know, there's a Toyota FT1 over in that direction. You know, Kia has their GT4 Stinger out here. But I think what I like are the cars that look like concept cars, but you can actually buy. So one of the cars that's coming up is the new Chevy Corvette Z06 convertible. And we're talking more than 625 horsepower, incredible handling, but also in a convertible form, so you can have your the wind blowing around and your hair looks ridiculous, and I think you'll look like you're having more fun when you step out of the Z06 than almost any other car out there.
What cars can help people with mobility problems, like our returning veterans with disabilities who need options to drive independently?
There's more of these technologies where the vehicle is doing a lot of the work, and so not too far down the road, the vehicles are going to be able to drive themselves. And for people who have you know, difficulties with mobility, that's going to be you know, a godsend. So the technology here is moving along rapidly, and we've got complete coverage of all of it at KellyBluebook'sKBB.com.
Thanks, Micha, for giving us insight on what the hottest vehicles that will soon be on Florida's driveways.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
If you're one of more than 60 million Americans who suffer from seasonal allergy symptoms, you're likely to experience sleepless nights and limited outdoor activities. According to a recent survey, more than half of allergy sufferers using an over-the-counter allergy medicine are not fully satisfied with the relief that it provides. Joining us this morning is Nancy Lieberman, Basketball Hall of Fame coach and mom who knows firsthand how disruptive allergy symptoms can be and how it affects your quality of life, mostly during spring and summer. Good morning, Nancy.
Good morning. I think you stated that so beautifully, how you could have all these amazing things that we do in our life, but if allergies are affecting us, I mean, we're just absolutely miserable. And it doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl. I mean, how you feel projects what is going to be resonated with people around us.
Is an antihistamine inadequate in combating a range of allergy symptoms, or does that depend on the allergens?
I'm going to give you a basketball analogy, okay? So we're putting a full court press. We press because something is hurting us, and we have to have a defense against it. So when I look at what Nasacort has done, where it attacks those 5 chemicals that are prevalent when they come out because of the allergens. So all it's doing is systematically trying to give you relief. It's been so effective for me. Everybody has their own intimate story of what they do, but this is over the counter. In my opinion, there's nothing like it because it's given me so much relief from my nasal congestion. And you don't want to be on a plane, you don't want to be in front of your coaches, you don't want to be in a professional situation where you're just not feeling well and it affects how you interact with people.
If we're trying to fight allergy symptoms and can't find an over-the-counter relief, should we consult with an allergist or our doctor during allergy seasons?
I think that's a really good point. You know, you always want to check in with your doctor and find out what your particular symptoms are. But I had to educate myself. So I have gone to the website. I've gone to nasacort.com. The most powerful tool we have is education, reading, and learning. And exponentially, I've learned more about why I feel the way I do I didn't really know the difference between that my allergies were not caused by the allergens, they were caused by the 5 chemicals. And this is what we're actually talking about, using the full court press to attack the things that are hurting us.
Thanks, Nancy, for offering resources to help us push forward and blossom into our best during allergy season.
Thank you so much.
The National Meningitis Association estimates that 800 to 1,200 people are infected with meningococcal disease each year in the U.S., a severe bacterial infection of the bloodstream. Every 10 minutes, one person dies worldwide from meningococcal disease. Here to bring awareness of the sudden and severe complications that can lead to death within 24 hours of this disease is Lynn Bozoff, President of the National Meningitis Association, and Jamie Shanbaum, a 25-year-old survivor of this disease. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Lynn, explain what this disease does to a person once they contract it.
Meningococcal disease is a deadly bacterial infection caused by a specific bacteria, Neisseria, and it's spread through the exchange of respiratory secretions, coughing, kissing, sneezing. It's not spread through casual contact. It has to be direct contact. The disease is one of the few bacteria that can take a healthy person and really can kill them within hours. And what complicates the situation is that the early symptoms mimic those of the flu. So you could have a high fever, headache, nausea, vomiting, sensitivity to light, and you think, oh, I've got a migraine, oh, I've got a virus, I'm just going to see how I feel tomorrow. But if it's meningitis, you can't wait until tomorrow. You've got to get to the hospital and get treated with massive doses of antibiotics. And even with that treatment, up to 20% of adolescents and young adults can die from this disease, and another 20% can suffer long-term serious disabilities such as cognitive impairments, limb loss, kidney transplants, hearing loss. So it's not a disease to take lightly.
I know a national disability advocate who caught this bacteria as an athlete and lost all 4 limbs.
Yes, had my son survived, he had already had all 4 limbs amputated, and Jamie, who is sitting next to me, had both of her legs amputated. So, I mean, the disease takes a serious toll, and to avoid being misdiagnosed in the emergency room or waiting too long, that's why it's so important to be vaccinated ahead of time.
Jamie, how did you contract this disease, and what symptoms led to a correct diagnosis?
You know, when people ask me, like, you know, how did you get the disease? I always respond with, it's this very same reaction of, how did you get the flu? So it's not like you know that it happened at a specific event. It's random. It's 10% of the population are actually carriers of the disease, and something can just be wrong within one day. Like for me, it was November, the seasons were changing, and I wasn't taking care of myself, and all those definitely ignited the bacteria to become inflamed inside of my body, and so I definitely faced some serious results because of it.
After being diagnosed, did you wait too long, and that's what led to your amputations?
I was admitted in the hospital, not really knowing what was going on, definitely like very depleted. I wasn't capable of walking, having any strength or any warmth. I remember being in the hospital rooms asking irrational questions like, can I have a shot, like an injection of warmth inside of my body, because I was so devastatingly cold. And even then, a nurse said, I think she has meningitis. And I, you know, I'm so thankful that that nurse was there, because if she wasn't, I could have been misdiagnosed. And you know, that happens a lot. A lot of people don't see meningitis a lot. However, when it does hit, it is devastating. And of course, the results came back, I would say 2 days later. I don't really know, because I was highly medicated. These are all recollected stories. And so The nurse thought it was meningitis, and over the next couple weeks I was watching my limbs go from fine to red to purple to black to rotting off my body, to say lightly. And they waited to do the amputations 3 months later, actually. So I was dealing with my body being half dead, to say. And the amputations came, and so did recovery. And I just want to make sure that everyone knows that this is definitely in existence. We want it to be prevented as much as possible. Get those vaccines.
Lynn, your son's battle with this disease was not so fortunate as Jamie was.
My 20-year-old son, who was pre-med, honor student, had everything in the world going for him, did not survive. He had all 4 limbs amputated, he lost kidney, liver function, he had 10 hours of grand mal seizures. It was not enough to save his life, and after he died, we found out a vaccine was available that could have saved his life. And that's why I'm here today. I don't want other families to lose a child to a vaccine-preventable disease.
Jamie, tell us about the Protecting Our Tomorrows campaign.
Protecting Our Tomorrow portraits are basically collected photos that were taken of the world-renowned photographer Ann Geddes. She went to different parts of the globe and took pictures of meningitis survivors with their amputations, and they're all beautiful pieces. I highly recommend for everyone to go check out the ebook that will be available on World Meningitis Day. It's definitely just bringing a global awareness to it, which is very, very great news.
Lynn, what advice do you have for parents to protect their children?
Parents need to ask their health care providers, are my children up to date with all of the recommended vaccines by the CDC? And you know, you don't have to wait till your yearly checkup. You can go in for a sports physical. If you've got a minor illness, you can be vaccinated. You need to take advantage of any opportunity that you're in the doctor's office to make sure your children are up to date on vaccinations.
And to get more information, definitely check out the National Meningitis Association website at nmaus.org.
Thank you, Lynn and Jamie, for sharing your personal stories to create awareness of how meningococcal will kill shortly after close contact with this bacteria.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Whether you're preparing for retirement or planning a new car purchase, managing personal resources includes keeping our children and ourselves financially secure and healthy. As we approach the summer months, remember to care for your skin by using sunblock every day to protect from UV damaging rays. And take the time to educate yourself to all the spring and summer allergens in and outdoors that can disrupt your quality of life. Plan and prepare to ensure you and your family enjoy springing into summer. Share your springing into summer family fun with us at facebook.com/Rosalie Show or visit us at rosaliearchershow.com and enjoy life every day. And we'll see you soon.